Hi, I'm Randy Alvarez. Welcome to the launch meeting that we have put together for you and for your staff to maximize the use of your Wellness Hour interview. So I've identified 9 or 10 ways to use your video to increase your bottom line, to leverage your message, to build your personal brand, to increase your searchability on Google and on other social media marketing platforms. So let's start with TV first. We buy local TV in your area. The channels we pick, by the way, are channels that are in and around all of the network stations. ABC, NBC, Ion Media, the CW Network, Fox, etc. So we carefully chose these channels so that way when people were looking for something to watch near their channels, in the channel guide it would say the topic I'm interviewing you about, which would be, let's say, no more dentures if it's dental implants, or extreme makeover, whether that would be dentistry or cosmetic or plastic surgery. So the title on the channel is key to everything. That's how people will find you. So let's talk about creative ways that I've learned after doing 1,200 plus of these programs. I've listened to the doctors and they've told me how they use the video to attract new patients. Okay, so number one, local TV. Number two, when the patients come in, they put a little sign at the front and it may say, the doctor is on TV with the local airtimes, the channel, etc. And if you're on dish or if you're on cable or network, that will be listed on there too. The other thing you want to do is list your airtimes on your website. Usually we have the doctors agree to anywhere from, it's always on a month-to-month, by the way, that you could change your schedule with 30 days written notice, but usually it's a 12-month fixed airtime schedule. So put it on your website. If you do newspaper ads or radio ads or Google advertising, AdWords, make sure that your airtime is on there with some kind of a headline. If you're going to get dental implants, tune in Wednesdays at 7 a.m. on channel 22 or whatever the channel that you pick. Post your video on your current website. This is very important. Not only do you post it on the cover of your website, make sure it has a play button. Many of you are using Vimeo players or other off-label players aside from YouTube. I'm not a big fan of it for many reasons, but I think the biggest reason I want to use YouTube on your site and on my site is so that way you're searchable with Google. Google prioritizes video, at least that's the rumor, the word on the street. But make sure it has, because sometimes whoever your web designer is, they try to hide the video and it almost looks like a photograph. They use the thumbnail as a photograph. Make it look like a TV player. Give it a headline. You know, they say in advertising, if you're going to spend 30 days designing an ad, that you have to spend 29 and a half of those days with a headline, a hook line. So treat this video on your website like an ad in the paper, a hook, something that would make them want to click on it. And for those of you that were talking about the keys to a natural looking facelift, we would put that. Or no more arrhythmias if you're a cardiologist and we discussed arrhythmias. Or new treatment options for people with cataracts, etc., etc. I think you get the point. Give it a headline, no more dentures, smile makeover, or meet the doctor, or hear the doctor's philosophy about XYZ. Very important. Another great way to leverage this video is to create your own YouTube channel. Because I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel, The Wellness Hours, and I'm going to make sure that I title it correctly, that I describe it correctly, and I tag it correctly so you get the most out of your search engine optimization. We, as part of our service, are going to make sure that when you have your YouTube channel, that you do the same thing. The other thing, we are going to put it on wellnesshour.com, which is optimized as well. So your website, my website, your YouTube channel, my YouTube channel. The goal is, and I have many of my clients, if you do a Google search for them in San Diego or Philadelphia or Santa Barbara, their video will pop up. That's what we want to have happen to you. Another great thing to do is most medical offices, dental offices are collecting emails when they call in to book an appointment. So when you get these emails, you are, of course, explaining to the patient why you're getting an email, and you're saying, is it okay if I send you a reminder for your appointment? Would you like to be part of our newsletter? They call this permission marketing. You only want those patients that want to receive your constant contact newsletter. So ask them, would you like to be on our mailing list of current specials or updates or breakthroughs or information about the doctor? In regard to the Wellness Hour video, the YouTube channel has a link, a shareable link. And you're going to highlight that link and drop it in your constant contact, or drop it in the email, the personal email you send to each one of the patients. And most of you, that email link will turn into a video player in their email. And you could put, meet Dr. Jones. That way the client, and of course, look, people are afraid of the dentist. So if they have an appointment with you and they've never met your doctor, they're more likely to click on this boring video of either a facelift or a dental procedure or orthopedic procedure if they have something at stake, which is they are about to, go through with a potential procedure. We also know, and it's important to note, that people with knee problems, people that are wearing dentures, people that are thinking about getting a facelift, they network and hang around with and fellowship with other people that have those same problems. So another reason why you want to email every one of your patients that have booked, especially new patients, that video is because if they like you, they will email it and forward it to one of their friends with the hope that your video becomes viral. And when it comes to your reception area or waiting room, my most successful offices across the country don't have a problem with playing this professionally produced video in their waiting room. And they put it at a volume level that's low enough. Now keep in mind, because you've been hanging around yourself long enough, maybe what you do every single day may become very boring or whatever. But to the patient that is waiting in your waiting room, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 20 minutes or more, that video helps lower their fears of whatever procedure they're considering doing, because they get to see the doctor in a very friendly light. And it's all about building trust and lowering their fears and making the patient more likely to move forward with one of the procedures that you're offering them that day. And backing up for just a moment, for those of you that have a constant contact or a monthly email newsletter, I would send out the video or one of the 8 educational links that we make for all of the new clients with the Wellness Hour. I would send those out at least once a month to your list to create that buzz about your practice. They say in marketing, it's good if you could create something that has legs. That means that not only do they see it, but they forward it to their friends. I recommend that at your next meeting, or at this meeting, because you're watching this, that let's say there's 5 of you, 10 of you, 20 of you, or 40 of you, why not at least post your doctor's video that you work with one time on your personal Facebook? And you could put something like, this is the doctor that I work with, hilarious, or some kind of, again, a headline. And you will see that, if you post a dental, a medical, or any type of a medical or dental post, this is who I work for, you'll get a lot of wisecracks and you'll get a lot of activity, and you may even get somebody that says, I want to go see the doctor that you work with, or tell me more. The goal is to create a conversation. The goal is to create this open door to where they want to know more about it. And as we all know, that people are more likely to do business with someone they know over someone they don't know. That's why the power of television is more important than ever with so much clutter in the marketplace. Everybody's trying to differentiate themselves. I'm fully aware that not everybody watches TV. However, the people that do watch TV, in the privacy of their own home, they watch this and go, I like this doctor. Now keep in mind, if you get a call from the show on television, it's even more powerful, arguably, than a referral. More powerful than somebody that saw you in a newspaper ad or the radio. And here's the reason why. Because TV is more even 4-dimensional for many people, where they can make a judgment. They get a gut feeling, I like this person. They make a commitment, I like this person. So when they call, just so you know, if somebody calls you from the TV, something happened. Or if somebody called you from the website and saw the video, we know one thing for sure, they like you. So make the appointment, get them in. So let's talk a little bit about that incoming call. There seem to be three types of calls you will get from a television or an external marketing project. One of them is, I want more information, how much is it? The second most common call will be, do you take insurance? And the third is, I have no money at all. Let me give you some advice that is working for doctors' offices across the country. The first one. Now, keep in mind, for those of you that know me a little bit, I lecture all over the country on the topics of positive influence. I've written hundreds of sales scripts and incoming call scripts. And I can tell you that most of you, if you're watching this, you're the progressive doctor's office. That you probably have some phone training, a phone script. But here's the challenge we all face, that the patient calls and they don't follow your script. They start with, how much is it? I'm just calling for information. I want you to know, when they call and ask how much is it right off the bat, that doesn't mean they don't have money. And it doesn't mean that they're just price shopping. It's a fair question if you are somebody that never considered the procedure. They saw something on TV or on the internet, on an internet video, they saw it and you or the doctor persuaded them, lowered their fears, and stirred their emotions to where now they're considering taking action. So the natural question to somebody that's not referred by another doctor, they don't, let's say, go to estheticians all the time, so they don't know what lipos goes for, or facelifts go for, or breast augmentation goes for. So the natural question will be, is how much is it to a person that's never considered it? And by the way, those, depending on which marketing book that you read, and I read at least one book on marketing and advertising and sales book a month, two a month if I can. But everybody seems to agree that you want that first-time user, because the first-time user, that means somebody that's never considered, even let's just use the word Botox. There's a Botox crowd out there, right? And I'm one of them, okay? That's why I can't show a whole lot of expression. But the people that get Botox, they go to one person, another person, and they look for specials. They don't tend to refer people. But it's that first-time users that when they get it for the first time, they tend to tell all their friends, oh my goodness, have you ever had Botox? I love this Botox. Or the denture wear that never thought about dental implants. They go in and now they could chew and eat meat and corn on the cob. They tend to tell all their friends that have denture wears, or that have dentures, you have to look or look into this doctor. So it's very important to not judge these calls based on they have no money. Judge them based on, this was a person that never considered the procedure, and the doctor, because of their presentation, pushed them over the edge. So when you take that call, first things first, and this could be a very lengthy conversation, but I'm going to give you the basics in a perfect world. They call, how much is it? I'll get that information for you. Learn this line. How much is it? I'll get that information for you. May I ask, step number 2, may I ask, how did you hear about us? This is not a marketing question. This is an icebreaker. How did you hear about us? If somebody called the Wellness Hour and called my staff and said, we are ready for an interview, we're going to book a production with you, we would say, okay, that's good. By the way, how did you hear about us? The other thing is, if somebody called and said, hi, I want to know a little bit more about a production, we want to know how much it is, we'd say, we'll get that information for you. By the way, how did you hear about us? Because the answer to that question is going to set the tone of the rest of the call. If they say, we saw the doctor on TV, you can say, oh, well, the doctor's even nicer in person than they were on that show. They were a little bit stiff, or tell your truth. And by the way, this should be mandatory. The doctor should make it mandatory that everybody watches the video on work time. Put aside a half an hour, make sure you watch it, because you want to be able to passionately tell your patients, you've got to look at this video, because it is very informative. They're going to learn something if they watch the video. With that incoming call, you said, I'll get that information for you. You say, may I ask, how did you hear about us? You break the ice a little bit. Or who referred you to us? And whoever that doctor is, you can talk a little bit about that. And then you go into, here's how we do it here at Dr. Jones's office. We have you come in, we do this, we do this, we do this, and at that time, we will then give you a written treatment plan to give you all of your options. If it started with price, remember, this is a key point. You want to revisit it and say, the doctor's only policy is this. They don't want us to give you a diagnosis over the phone because there's a lot of different variables. Not everybody's a candidate. Now, in radio, they tell the DJs, don't have any dead air. That means no silence on these phone calls. And I'm telling you, no dead air. So a good bridge, I call it bridging to the appointment. A good bridge question or statement would be, Mrs. Jones, where are you calling from? And they'll say, I'm calling from 20 minutes away, right? And you say, well, you're only 20 minutes away. We're at the corner of this and that. I invite you in to come in, meet with the doctor, so that way we can give you a complete treatment plan so you'll know all your options. Let me get the doctor's calendar and pull it up and see what the next available is. That's, to me, and most experts would agree, the perfect call. So let me go over that one more time. They call and ask for price right off the bat. Remember, that doesn't follow your script. They ask for price. I'll get that information for you because you're telling the truth. Eventually, you are going to get that information for them. I'll get that information for you. May I ask, how did you hear about us? Or who referred you to us? After that, you say, well, here's how we do it at Dr. Jones's office. Explain that consult process. Because, see, the patient doesn't realize they're asking somewhat of a silly question. If they're calling about dental implants, there's over 40, 50 different types of dental implants. Some people need bones, some people don't need bones. Some people need grafts, some people don't need grafts. So that's where you go into, and so that's why Dr. Jones always says not to quote a price over the phone, because we don't want to quote you something that's too much or too low, and we don't want to, the doctor always says, we don't want to diagnose your situation over the phone. Now, if they press you on price, and they say, but look, I'm not going to go there unless you give me a price. Here's the technique here, very important. And that is, tell me a little bit about what's going on in your mouth. Listen to them. And after about 40 seconds, this is the key here, don't let them go on for 4 hours. After about 40 seconds, you say, look, I'm just the person that handles the doctor's calendar. But what you're telling me, and this is, of course, all of this only works if it's true. But what you're telling me, Mrs. Jones, is what we hear all of the time. You're calling from 15, 20 minutes away. Especially based on what you just told me, we invite you in, come in, meet with the doctor. That way you know where you stand. So that's how to handle the first type. Number two, the insurance question. They're going to call and say, do you take insurance? Do you take Medicare? Don't say, we don't take insurance. Or don't say, we don't take Medicare. You can tell them. Unfortunately, blame it on them, because the truth of the matter is you'd love to take Medicare if Medicare paid for it, right? So you say, unfortunately, Medicare doesn't pay for these procedures, but we'll do everything we can to make it as affordable as possible. No dead air, bridge over, you got to do the bridge over to, where are you calling from? And it turns out they're 15, 20 minutes away, invite them in. We'll do everything we can to make it affordable, okay? And then bridge them in, get the doctor's calendar and make the appointment. Now, what about the people that say, I have no money? I have no money. Now, by the way, some of the offices, I'm going to make a side note here. This goes on. To me, it's kind of funny, but it's not so funny. And that is that the doctor may say, and they may lead with an iron fist, and they say, look, do not give a price over the phone, period. Don't give a price. And then what happens is, and the doctors don't realize this, the staff, the team, will say, okay, we'll get everybody in. Patient says, I'm living out of my car. I have no money. I'm living in the street, under the bridge, whatever, and you're still getting them to come in. Well, that's not fair. You wouldn't want, if your own mother or relative was in that sort of a situation, you don't want to waste their time, but you also don't want to prejudge them either. So if somebody admits to you, and by the way, this is not rude to say. I mean, if somebody literally admits, I have no money, the technique is to tell the truth. Every one of you have to create a file for this to work out. Because sometimes when they see you on TV, they think this is the TV doctor, this doctor could be my chance of getting some free dental work or for some free plastic surgery. Just have a plan for it. And the plan is, right now, we're not in a position, Dr. Jones, to give away any free plastic surgery or any free dental work or any charity at this time. However, send us an email or send us a card, here's our address, with what's going on, maybe a little bit about a picture of the area, whether it's a smile or a body part or something that's bothering them. And then we're going to put you in a file. And when the time comes when we can do some charity work, etc., then we'll do it we'll give it our best chance to give you a call. Now, this is very honest. And by the way, if you're a doctor, you know this, that every once in a while, friends of yours or colleagues will bring a big van in town and they'll do some free work. You can call those people or give those people on that list, and you can give it to the local college or university, et cetera, and they'll use it on some of their students to learn from. Now, those are the three things. Now, what you will get is some people say, well, I have the money. I don't need charity. Well, if they just told you I have no money, you're trying to save them a trip to the office. I think there's look, this is a big topic, but I think there's too much weeding out going on. Unless they say, I have no money, I have no job, I'm on a fixed income, you can say, unfortunately, we're not in a position to do it. But we have finance options. We have different ways to make it affordable. We're just not in a position to give it away for free right now. I'm also, another side note about these phone calls, many offices are giving ranges over the phone. I'm going to tell you something. I've been inside the most successful $18 million practices. They don't give prices over the phone. The small practices that are struggling, I shouldn't say this all the time. There's exceptions. But they're always giving ranges on the phone. Anywhere from 500 to 2,000. You know, in dentistry, it's funny to me. Struggling practice, I call. And the doctor says, oh, they don't give prices over the phone. We do this every day. We just did this today and yesterday, right? We call and say, how much are dental implants? $2,300 in 2 seconds. And I know that that poor staff member that took that call, they're backed up with 2 calls. They got lights lit up on the telephone. They've got a patient waiting at the front desk, and they know if they give that $2,300 figure, it's going to end the call very quickly. They're going to make an appointment or say, thank you very much, let me think about it. That's what's happening. Don't let that happen to you, because remember, it all adds up. Because if this is happening 5 times a week, that's 20 times a month. And 20 times 12, you know, you're talking hundreds and maybe over 1,000 calls a year that the price is keeping them from coming in. So answer that phone with technique. Use the wellness hour. Remember this, look, how many times you hear patients that say, boy, if I wish you could meet my husband, my mother, my sister, because if they met you, they would come in here, right? If you're a good doctor, you hear this all the time. In fact, sometimes the staff, whether it's the RNs, estheticians, medical assistants, dental assistants, they say, I wish I could get my husband in here. Well, a video, a powerful video, a positive video with positive influence and a compelling presentation could get, you can tell that patient, look, if they're afraid of the dentist, if they're afraid of coming in for a consult with a plastic surgeon or whatever, tell them to go to our website. Privately, they can take a look and judge for themselves whether or not they think the doctor might be the right doctor for them. This is my launch meeting, and part of my services are the following. We want to create 30-second spots if you need them, and we don't charge any money for those 30-second spots, tune-in spots, and you have to call us for details for our current clients. We also want you to know that I'll take a look at your print advertising or your radio advertising. Now that I've spent way more than $50 million of doctors' money on advertising, I've thrown away a lot of money over the years, and I've really become a student of marketing and advertising, because it's less about how to sell and why consumers buy, but it's why humans buy, okay? And they buy because they want to be better off. They buy oftentimes because not only they want to be better off, but they want to avoid being worse off. They buy because they like you. They trust you. They know they want to do it, but now the question is, who do I like? Who can I trust? So use the Wellness Hour interview to differentiate yourself. I want to thank you for watching this video, and I would suggest that you watch this from time to time. Play it at a meeting.